Hey, what's going on, guys? Sean here, living the corporate pilot life. It is Tuesday, and I owe you guys a Tech Tuesday video, but I am nowhere near an airplane, and for good reason, because my daughter brought some kind of cold flu thing home, and she's passing it around like candy. So I've got some sort of thing going on, and I'm not going anywhere near an airplane today. But it got me thinking about doing a little video and talking about being fit to fly. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that with you guys today. Being fit to fly is a huge part of being a pilot. If you're not fit to fly, you need to stay out of the cockpit. And we actually have a checklist that has been published in several documents that people should go through before they get in an airplane. And the acronym is I'm safe. And I always add another E on the end of that, and we'll get to that here in a second. But if you run through that, IMSAFE with an extra E. It stands for illness, medication, stress, alcohol, fatigue, and emotion. The extra E is for eating. That one especially applies to me. You guys know I don't miss too many meals, and if I do, I'm not a happy camper. So if you want to run through those for my particular case today, we can show you exactly why I don't need to be flying an airplane. Illness, I have sinus congestion, I have all sorts of blockages, I'm sneezing and coughing and all kinds of stuff. So that number one right there pretty much takes me out of the cockpit. I actually met a guy that flew one time with a pretty severe sinus blockage, and I think he was in an F4 or something like that. It was an old fighter pilot, and he told me that he took off and he launches way up high altitude somewhere, and he ends up rupturing a sinus cavity in the airplane. Because of the pressure change, if you can't equalize your sinuses, just like your ears, you can actually do some damage to your body. So he ended up obviously surviving the incident. He got the airplane on the ground. I think he had to go to the hospital and have surgery to repair a ruptured sinus. So he said it was one of the most painful things he's ever felt, like an ice pick going through his face or something. So not something we want to deal with. And as far as airlines and corporate jets, we really don't have that big of a concern for it because we don't fly. The cabin altitude is only at 6,500 feet, 7,000 feet, something like that. And we climb and descend at a fairly slow pace as far as the cabin is concerned. So things like that become less of a concern for us, but it's definitely uncomfortable. It can be very painful. I did fly on an airline one time with a cold, and I thought my head was going to explode from the pressure. So, as a pilot, you don't want to be dealing with that while you're trying to fly the airplane. Definitely something to consider. Medication, I am definitely medicated today, so that right there takes me out of the cockpit. Stress, I mean, who could be stressed by living the corporate pilot life? It's pretty stress-free environment, right? Yeah. Alcohol, I haven't been drinking any alcohol today because of the medication, but alcohol is something that we don't talk enough about sometimes. Sometimes it gets beat into the ground, but they have the 8-hour bottle to throttle rule. From the last drink to the time you start flying, you've got an 8-hour limitation. You can't be drinking inside that window. At Alarion, we actually adhere to a stricter rule. We do 12 hours from drink to safety sensitive function, not just bottle to throttle. So actually, that includes your pre-flight. We do an hour and a half showtime at Alarion, so you're more like 13 and a half hours from bottle to throttle. A lot of you guys are probably out there saying, that's ridiculous. Who needs 13 and a half hours from the time you drink to the time you fly? But this is not playtime, guys. This is real stuff. When we're dealing with people's lives, alcohol and airplanes just don't mix. So don't mess around with that. You can lose not only your license, but your life and a lot of other people's lives. So something to definitely keep in mind. Fatigue, I am certainly fatigued. I didn't sleep very well last night because I was up coughing and sneezing half of the night. I spent most of it on the couch, in fact. So that right there is going to keep me out of the cockpit. Emotion, it's something that we don't really talk enough about also. We had that incident several years ago or a couple years ago where the German aircraft crashed into the mountains, and it seems that the co-pilot had emotional issues and decided to push the airplane into the ground and killed everyone on board. A very tragic accident that should have been addressed on an emotional level in a therapist's office, not in a cockpit. So for me, sometimes when I'm feeling stressed out and down in the dumps about whatever, sometimes it's good to get in an airplane and just go relax, go fly, and just have a little bit of fun. It helps to relieve that stress in some degree. But at the same time, if you're kind of on an unstable level, you need to stay out of the airplane. So something definitely to consider before you climb into a cockpit. And then, like I said, that last item is eating. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that I don't miss too many meals. So me flying on an empty stomach is probably as bad as me flying on a stomach full of vodka. So yeah, that one definitely applies to me. Not today so much. I've been eating okay, as usual. So those are some things that we definitely want to consider before we go fly an airplane. So hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. We'll get some new Tech Tuesday videos coming out, and I'm working on a full flying video for you guys on the computer right now. So hopefully that'll be out in another day or two. And we'll see you guys on the next Tech Tuesday video. See ya.